Good evening, everyone. It's Hanifa Menon from hearthealthbrainhealth.com, encouraging healthy grieving and mindful actions. Today, I thought of talking to you about resilience and rising with resilience. And resilience is a term that you might have been noticing is talked about pretty regularly right now. And of course, we all kind of like the idea of resilience. Doesn't it have the strength behind it that she's got resilience or he's got resilience? And I thought I'd talk to you about, first of all, the 7 types of resilience, just in general, just to explain that there are different types of resilience and what can be encompassed by that word resilience. And this is by Dr. Ginsberg, who's a child pediatrician and a human development expert. And it's this proposal of the 7 types of resilience that I thought I'd start with. And so it's mentioned that they're integral and interrelated components. So all of these things you can see that will actually blend into each other. But when we look at resilience and look at it fully, we can see these 7 different components are one way of understanding resilience a little bit better. So the words that are being suggested for encompassing resilience, or what resilience actually encompasses, are competence, confidence, connection, character, contribution, coping, and control. Now, you would think, or you might think, because I thought control at the end of that, make sure that when you're thinking about control, it's about self-control. It's this controlled space. That's a resilience. And oftentimes we see when we are or others are in this space of showing resilience, it's showing all of these aspects that sometimes someone's gone through an incredible grief, and that coping through that grief is a resilience that you see. Sometimes it's about being able to do a certain job that someone's been trained slowly for, or sometimes not even trained so well, and yet they're competent in it. They just get it. And then they're resilient in terms of understanding how to do it better and better. And the same thing in terms of connection. So sometimes people lose connections with people, and people really have this need for connection. And some people really find ways to regain connections, and this is a resilience. So all of these things, again, are all part of resilience. And I came across a great quotation by Bruce Lee, and he says, "If you always put limit on everything you do, physical or anything else, it will spread into your work and into your life. There are no limits. There are only plateaus, and you must not stay there. You must go beyond them." And this is a way that we can understand resilience, right? Sometimes we see someone's been through something really not easy and they've built up again somehow, whichever way. I've heard of people whose homes have been completely destroyed by something like a natural disaster, and they've slowly built themselves back up into getting into another home. So that's one type of resilience. Sometimes people are living in a war-torn area and they're somehow able to have the strength to work with people around them with a kind and compassionate way, and it's a resilience. Even though they may have lost family members, that's a resilience. And this quotation by Bruce Lee reminds us that even when we're in those not easy times, there's a plateau that comes that, okay, I just got through this. But don't stay there, because we limit ourselves by thinking, oh, this is it, that's what I needed to get through, and now I'm here. And nothing really stays the same in life, does it? So we are always in action, and that action with resilience allows us to think of even greater possibilities, and greater opportunities start opening up to us if our mind can allow us to work from that space of resilience into managing the next hurdle, we'll say. And then I came across another quotation, which is by Arthur C. Clarke. And this is again, when I think of resilience, and today I've done a lot of reflection on resilience, it's this idea of understanding that the more people go through, the more oftentimes people want to seclude themselves and hide away or tuck away or sleep sometimes. Sometimes they just want to get away from people and they isolate themselves. And you see this in our society all over the world, where people are overwhelmed by things. And in that experience, rather than resilience, it's this hiding away, this insecurity, this fear that rises. And in this time, we're not using resilience. When people are in that space, so we can see there's so many more cases, at least that we hear of, maybe no more cases than actually have been present, but I believe it's kind of growing in terms of the number of cases of depression and anxiety. It's quite large. And it's not only in North America, it's everywhere. And this, we're recognizing everyone is feeling this certain pressure of world energies. And this pressure can easily create a situation where a person hides away and leans towards things like depression or anxiety, sometimes not even consciously. It's just this protective space. And other times, this resilience also brings this curiosity about what could I do now? And sometimes that's even coming from a space of not such ease, yet there's this curiosity about, I think there's more that I can do, which is so fantastic because until we're in that space, we can't help ourselves or people around us. So this quotation by Arthur C. Clarke, I'll get back to, it says the only way to discover the limits of the possible is to go beyond them into the impossible. And this is so useful for us to remember if we can think this, because when we're thinking about this is everything that's possible, it's linked with our mind's awareness or knowledge of things we've learned up till now, and we cannot think now about what is impossible. But unless we're open to exploring something impossible, we won't open ourselves to something new. Then we repeat the same experiences that we've already been through, which is kind of like reliving Groundhog Day, if you've seen that movie. But it's the same thing. It's people get up, they eat, they might exercise, they'll go to work, they come back, they speak to their partner or kids, and then they go to sleep. And this is so regular for everyone. And as we do this, it doesn't actually build and expand our own minds and our own lives in terms of our capabilities and our experiences. And that can limit our joys of expansion. So I thought today for 5 minutes, if you can sit down and reflect on, do you push yourself to understand what you've gained up till now and the resilience that has helped you till now? What does it help you push forward with? What does it help you take a new step in? What does it, whether it's how you think, how you speak, or how you behave? And again, recognizing your own patterns of behavior and what is kind of reflecting about how your mind might be thinking and how you yourself might be restricting your experience in life. I, of course, would love to encourage resilience, and you know I love poetry. So wouldn't you know that I found this beautiful, beautiful quote that you may have heard before, but it's by Maya Angelou, and it's such a beautiful poem, and I believe it's called I Rise. It didn't have the title on it when I found it, but I'm quite certain that I've heard it before, and I'm pretty sure it's called I Rise, so if you look for it, you might find it with that title. And again, it's by Maya Angelou, and I thought I would read you this poem for you to reflect on. And we know that there's so many people in the world that are going through so much. And you know, when people are going through so much, they can become very resilient. And if we think about people are going through so much and we're all that same energy as this one united spiritual energy is the way I like to think of it. And you might think of it that way too. But if we think of humankind, mankind, the world, the existence of energies around us, however you think of it, we're all working with each other and affecting one another with how we think, we speak, and we act. So I thought today I would share this poem, and I hope that it inspires you to work from a different space, a space of resilience and courage and confidence and connection, because we all need to be connected to encourage our own best health. So here's the poem. She says, "You may write me down in history with your bitter twisted lies. You may tread me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. Do you want to see me broken? Bowed head and lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops weakened by my soulful cries. Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard? You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide. Welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise. And this, I think, is so beautiful. We can think of this in terms of the whole human experience. And it's a deep, deep poem. And I'd love for you to recognize that we are all carrying the effects, the experiences of the entire world with us in our energy. We've felt it, we've read about it, we see it, we feel it now. Times of COVID have definitely changed things for people, but we've seen so many years and histories of whether plagues or illness, whether we've seen recessions, depressions, we've seen emotional experiences of people enjoying the joy of birth and the sadness and grief with death. We're all carrying all of these energies. And to recognize we all rise. We do. And I hope that today you are inspired by that poem. I find it a very, very touching poem. I hope you do too. And I hope you recognize that this is the words of resilience. And I wish that for you. I wish you a fabulous night ahead. And I hope you remember, transform your mind and transform your life. Have a great night, everyone.